Many people think they want peace, but what they really want is control. They want the future to become predictable. They want people to approve of them. They want their emotions to obey them. They want life to follow the script they have written in their mind. And when it doesn't, they call it anxiety. But what if anxiety is not always a sign that something is wrong with your life? What if it is sometimes a sign that you're trying to control what was never yours in the first place? Epictetus said, "Some things are up to us, and some things are not up to us." This may be the simplest Stoic teaching ever written. It may also be the one most people spend their entire lives resisting. Because once you truly understand it, something uncomfortable becomes clear. Much of your suffering is not coming from life. It is coming from your demand that life obey you. Think about how much energy the average person spends trying to control things they cannot control. They try to control outcomes. They try to control timing. They try to control how other people see them. They try to control whether their plans succeed. They even try to control what emotions are allowed to appear inside them. And because life is not a machine, this becomes exhausting. The future refuses to sit still. People misunderstand us. Goals take longer than expected. Problems arrive without permission. Feelings rise before we can stop them. So we grip harder. We plan more. We worry more. We work more. We think if we can just push hard enough, life will finally become manageable. But there is a strange paradox here. The harder we try to force certainty, the more uncertain life feels. The tighter we grip, the more chaotic everything becomes. And the more we chase peace through control, the further peace seems to move away. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Notice what he does not say. He does not say you have power over your reputation, or your future, or other people's opinions, or whether life gives you what you want. He says your power is inside your response, and that changes everything. Most people do not live in the present. They live in a future they believe will save them. They tell themselves, "I will relax when I get the promotion. I will be happy when I earn more money. I will feel successful when I reach the goal. I will finally be at peace when everything is sorted out." But life has a quiet way of moving the finish line. One goal becomes another. One problem is solved and another appears. One achievement becomes the new minimum standard. And suddenly the destination you once dreamed of becomes just another place to feel restless. This is one of the great traps of modern life. We are taught to keep arriving, but we are rarely taught how to be here. We sacrifice the present for a future that keeps changing shape. And only later do we realize something painful. Many of the moments we were rushing toward were actually the moments we were living through. The coffee before work, the walk home, the quiet evening, the conversation we half listened to because our mind was already somewhere else. We thought life would begin after the next achievement, but life was happening the whole time. Seneca warned about this when he wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Because the mind does not only remember, it rehearses, it predicts, It invents. It creates disasters before reality has even had a chance to speak. A person can be sitting safely in a room and still suffer from next month's failure, next week's conversation, tomorrow's rejection, and a future version of life that may never arrive. And the body does not always know the difference. The heart races, the jaw tightens, the stomach turns, not because danger is here, but because imagination has dragged the body into a future that does not yet exist. Here is where the problem becomes deeper. Many people are not just stressed, they are attached to stress. At first that sounds strange. Who would be attached to stress? But think about it. If you have spent years living under pressure, calm can start to feel suspicious. Silence can feel empty. Rest can feel lazy. Peace can feel like something is missing. You become so used to urgency that stillness feels wrong. So when life slows down, you search for something to worry about. A message you need to answer. A problem you need to fix. A goal you are behind on. A future you need to prepare for. And if there is no obvious crisis, the mind creates one. This is how stress becomes an identity. You stop saying, "I am experiencing pressure." You start believing, "This is who I am, the productive one, the responsible one, the one who keeps going, the one who cannot slow down." But there is a difference between meaningful effort and nervous motion. There is a difference between discipline and desperation. There is a difference between moving forward and running because you are afraid to stand still. Many people mistake anxiety for ambition. They think worry proves they care. They think exhaustion proves they are serious. They think being constantly busy means they are making progress. But being busy is not the same as being free. A person can spend every hour doing something and still be avoiding the one thing that matters most. Facing themselves without distraction. The Stoics did not tell people to stop caring. They were not teaching passivity. This is often misunderstood. Stoicism is not saying do nothing. It is saying know what is yours. You can control your effort. You can control your preparation. You can control your honesty. You can control whether you act with courage or fear. You can control whether you meet this moment with resentment or responsibility. But you cannot control every outcome. You cannot control whether people understand you. You cannot control whether your work is rewarded. You cannot control whether life gives you the timing you hoped for. You cannot control the weather, the market, the past, or the private thoughts inside someone else's head. Epictetus said, "It is not events that disturb people, but their judgments about events." This is a dangerous sentence because it removes one of our favorite excuses. It means the problem is not only what happened, the problem is also the story we built around what happened. Someone does not reply, and the mind says they are rejecting me. A plan changes, and the mind says everything is falling apart. A mistake happens, and the mind says, I am a failure. But these are not facts. They are judgments, and judgments can be questioned. This is where freedom begins, not when life finally becomes predictable, But when you stop believing every fearful story your mind produces, because the mind is powerful, but it is not always truthful. Another form of control quietly dominates modern life, the need to control how other people see us. Many people do not just live their lives, they perform them. They worry about looking behind, looking unsuccessful, looking confused, looking ordinary, looking like they have not figured life out yet. And social media makes this worse. Every day we compare our inner chaos to someone else's edited moment. Their success without the struggle, their confidence without the fear, their relationship without the arguments, their money without the debt, their peace without the breakdowns. And slowly we begin to believe a lie. Everyone else has life under control, but most people are not as peaceful as they look. They are just better at hiding the storm. The Stoics understood this danger. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinion of others." That sentence cuts deeply because it exposes something strange. We live inside ourselves every moment, yet we hand our peace to strangers. A comment can ruin the day. A silence can create panic. A look can become a story. A rejection can feel like a verdict. But reputation is not character. Image is not peace. And being admired is not the same as being free. The Stoics did not build their lives around applause. They built them around conduct. Not what do people think of me, but what kind of person am I becoming? That question returns your power to where it belongs. There is another thing people try to control: their emotions. They try to suppress fear. They try to defeat sadness. They try to silence anxiety. They try to remove frustration as if it were a stain on the mind. But emotions are often like waves. The harder you fight them, the more violently they crash. And sometimes the attempt to control anxiety becomes the very thing that feeds it. You feel anxious. Then you become anxious about being anxious. Then you judge yourself for not being calm. Now you are not feeling the original emotion. You are fighting a war against yourself. This is why acceptance is not weakness. Acceptance is clarity. It is the moment you say, "This feeling is here. I do not have to obey it, but I also do not have to pretend it is not here." Seneca wrote, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." Even discomfort can become a teacher. Fear can show you where you have attached. Anger can show you where you feel powerless. Sadness can show you what mattered. Anxiety can show you where your mind is trying to live in the future. Not every emotion needs to be fixed. Some need to be understood. Some need to be felt. Some need to pass through without being turned into an identity. You are not weak because fear appears. You are not broken because sadness visits. You are human. And being human means weather moves through you. The question is not whether storms will come. The question is whether you will mistake the storm for yourself. This is where many people misunderstand letting go. They think letting go means being passive, not caring, not trying, not building, not dreaming, not taking responsibility. But Stoic letting go is not surrendering your life. It is surrendering the illusion that life must obey you. You still work hard, you still prepare, you still pursue meaningful goals. You still show up with discipline, courage, and honesty. But you stop demanding guarantees. You plant the seed, you water it, you protect the soil. But you do not stand over the ground screaming at it to grow faster. That is not ambition. That is fear wearing the mask of ambition. Epictetus said, "Ask not that events should happen as you will, but let your will be that events should happen as they do, and you shall have peace." This is not easy advice. It asks you to release the deepest habit of the anxious mind, the belief that peace is only possible when everything is certain. But certainty was never the requirement for peace. Control was never the requirement for peace. Perfect circumstances were never the requirement for peace. Peace begins when you stop outsourcing your inner life to things you cannot command. The future may still be uncertain. People may still misunderstand you. Plans may still fail. Emotions may still rise. But something in you becomes less fragile, because your peace is no longer tied to the weather of the world. It is tied to your response. So ask yourself, what am I trying to control right now that was never mine? Is it someone's opinion, an outcome, a future event, a feeling I am afraid to experience, a version of life I keep demanding? Then ask the Stoic question, what is actually mine? Your next action is yours. Your honesty is yours. Your discipline is yours. Your courage is yours. Your character is yours. Your response is yours. Everything else is borrowed from fate. And fate does not take orders. The strange thing is that when you stop trying to control everything, life does not become perfect, but it becomes lighter. You stop carrying imagined disasters. You stop negotiating with the future. You stop treating every setback as a personal insult. You stop gripping the world so tightly that your own hands begin to hurt. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." That is the doorway. Not control over the world, control over the meaning you give to what happens. Control over the person you choose to be inside it. Peace was never hidden at the end of the next achievement. It was never waiting inside the perfect future. It was never dependent on everyone understanding you. It was here, inside the one place life actually gives you power. This moment, this action, this breath, this response. And the moment you stop trying to control everything, you may finally discover that life becomes much easier to carry. If this video helped you see control differently, check out my channel for more Stoic content. Thank you for watching.